Okay, welcome back. Let's do a quick recap about our story so far.
Yep.
So we've learned about Matthias, this mouse who is a warrior spirit. He really wants to go on an adventure. Luckily, well, maybe not luckily, Clooney, the Scourge, and his army of rats are about to give him this adventure. They want to take over the peaceful Redwall Abbey and make it their own. Now, meanwhile,
yes,
there's a lot going on here.
Right.
The article tells us all the good animals of Mossflower Woods go to hide in Redwall, which was built years ago to keep them safe.
Oh, okay. Like in the old days, if you lived around the castle and were like a farmer, if an army that was going to attack came close, everyone would run into the castle, lock the doors, they'd be safe behind the walls.
Right.
So these animals who live around the abbey or the convent, the abbey, they run into Redwall Abbey and hopefully they'll be safe. However, we read Matthias and the old mouse Methuselah are afraid that the high walls won't be enough to keep out Clooney's rats.
Oh,
kind of like one of those castle battles from Lord of the Rings. They might find a way to put ladders up or knock the walls down. They're afraid that the walls of Redwall won't be enough to keep out these dangerous rats and, of course, Clooney the Scourge. This phrase to keep out basically just means to stop from entering a place, right? You lock your doors when you leave home to keep out burglars or robbers or something like that. And if you're in a place with a lot of flies and you're riding your bike, you close your mouth to keep out the flies.
Yeah, you don't want those flies in there. Yeah. All right, so we've got a new character here.
Okay.
So first we had Matthias.
Yes.
And now Methuselah.
Methuselah.
Now here's an interesting fact about the name Methuselah. I don't know if many of our listeners will know this. It's actually the name from the Bible.
A really old dude.
Yeah, in the Bible they say that he lived to like 900 years old or something.
900? It was hundreds of years.
Wow. It was really old. So anyways,
really wrinkled skin.
Yeah, so this mouse Methuselah is an old mouse. He's got an interesting name.
Okay.
Okay, so they want to keep all the good animals safe, but they're just small mice. Fortunately, they have a plan. Here's their plan. The article says they believe the sword of Martin the Warrior, the legendary mouse who helped found Redwall, will be able to defeat Clooney.
Wow, this guy sounds like a hero.
Yeah.
Martin the Warrior.
It's got a good name.
Absolutely. And so what did Matthias and Methuselah what are they going to do?
Okay, so they believe they're going to defend their home with this special sword. Now, sword is a noun. We kind of talked about it already. It's a weapon that has a long metal blade. Kind of like a knife, but much longer and with a bigger handle. Now, this type of weapon was very common hundreds of years ago, especially before guns were invented.
That's right. If you've seen fantasy movies or movies with samurai or people like that, of course, they're doing a lot of fighting with swords. For example,
Stu spent an hour looking at the old swords and other weapons in the History Museum.
Okay, they're old, they're important, so they're in a museum. And this mouse warrior, Martin the Warrior, he's legendary. If something is legendary, it's really famous. It's part of legend. Now, it could be something from an old story that might not be true, like the legendary stories of the Greek gods or something like that. Or you can also talk about something that was real and is just so famous. The legendary boxer Muhammad Ali or the legendary basketball player Michael Jordan. People would definitely use this adjective to describe someone like Michael Jordan, especially in the future. Maybe 100 years from now, people will still look back and go, wow, that person was really great, really special, really fantastic. So what are all these mice going to do? Are they going to join together to try to fight off Clooney?
Well, we've got these two mice here. They've got all these other animals here. But the most important people in the story here are Matthias and Methuselah, so far at least. And it says they believe this special sword, it used to belong to this warrior mouse, is going to help them defeat Clooney and his army. So we're going to talk right now, actually, about the verb defeat. Okay, we're talking about this verb defeat. Defeat is another way of saying beat, as in they think they can beat the army and win the war.
So sort of like the magic sword Excalibur from King Arthur, or even the Ring of Power from Lord of the Rings. This is a magical thing that if they find it, it will give them lots of the power that they need to defeat their enemy. But of course, the trick is to find the thing.
They don't know where it is.
In the first place. That's right. You can't use the magic sword to fight the bad guy if you don't have the magic sword. And to have it, you gotta find it. So how do they do that? Well, the article says there are clues to where the sword is located, but tick-tock, tick-tock, the mice are running out of time. That's right. They can't search for years and years.
Nope.
They have to find it quickly, but they do have some clues, so that is helpful. A clue, it's a noun, and it's basically something helpful that helps you find an answer or solve a mystery. Police are always looking for clues when there's a crime. If they find a fingerprint or a bit of hair or anything from the criminal or from when the crime happened, that would be a clue. Sherlock Holmes is always able to just look at a person's clothes and say, I can tell by this little thing on your jacket that you're from a certain place. How does he know that? He doesn't make it up. He looks at the clues, the evidence, he looks for hints. That could also be a clue. For example, Sherlock Holmes found a clue by looking at the man's jacket. He was from Nottingham.
Sherlock Holmes is pretty smart.
He is smart.
He's good at that.
Amazing with clues. So what kind of clues do they have? And are the clues helpful?
We don't really find out, but here's where they don't know where the sword is, right?
Sure.
They don't have a lot of time to look for it.
Oh, time is really running out quickly. Oh, no.
So we saw that they're running out of time. We don't really go into the clues too much here.
Okay.
That's why you've got to read the book. But they're running out of time. They're not actually running, though. Maybe they should be. When we use this phrase, run out of something, we're saying that something is disappearing quickly. So time is running out. That time is going by really quickly. Our money is running out. We almost have no money left. Here's another example. We're running out of tissue paper. Let's buy some at the supermarket tonight.
There you go. We use running out to talk about things that are valuable, especially right now, but they're limited, all right? You probably wouldn't run out of air if you're walking around outside, but you would run out of time, money. You might run out of sugar when you're baking a cake. Oh, you need to go get more if you're running out. Anyways, back to the article, it says, it is obvious that the Redwallers, all the people hiding in the Abbey, the Redwallers, it's obvious that the Redwallers can't win against Clooney and his army without the sword. The sword is key to them being able to fight off the army of rats. But they will still fight bravely for their home. Even though the situation is difficult, they know that if they lose, that's it for all of them. So if they all have to go down fighting, they will do that. It's obvious that they're in a very difficult situation. If something is obvious, this adjective means it's plain to see. It's easy to understand. It's right there in front of you. You don't have to figure it out or ask a lot of questions. Anyone can see this. It's so obvious. For example, look at those dark clouds. It's obvious that it will rain soon. It's very clear that it will rain soon. Okay, well, we also saw a grammar point in that sentence. So we're going to look at the grammar point, it plus be verb, or be verb with not. So like I am not, like this, with an adjective and a that clause. Okay, so when we use this pattern, we have to follow the adjective with a that clause. That's because we need to say what the adjective is describing. It is clear that Henry is unhappy. So we can very clearly see Henry is unhappy. That's because we also say, look at the expression on his face. Yes, and there you go. It is clear that we are running out of time today. But come back because we're going to have a little bit of chat and then we'll be done. But there'll be more about Redwall. We've got lots of story coming up. And Clooney the Scourge coming up. But before that, yes, we do have our chat question.